Waymo is currently experiencing significant growth as a company. They've recently closed a large funding round, expanded their robotaxi service to multiple cities, and they're seeing a dramatic increase in ride volume. Their service is now available in cities like Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Austin, with plans for further expansion. I just hope that when Waymo rolls out across the country, across every city and every state, people choose a real human driver because a human actually needs to make a real living. Whereas a robotic vehicle, which is a member of a company owned by the mega conglomerate Alphabet, aka Google, their robot drivers don't need to make a living. These robo taxis work for a $1 trillion company. They are the $1 trillion company. They have no living to make. Meanwhile, your everyday Uber driver is a real human who has real bills and real financial struggles in life. But of course, Waymo will undercut every driver out there, similar to Starbucks opening across the street from a coffee shop, dropping prices to damn near zero, running the coffee shop into the ground, then jacking up their prices after their competition is dead. Waymo can obviously afford all the electric cars they want. They can afford to build giant solar farms and all the charging stations they desire. Even though solar isn't actually free, despite what they've led the left to believe, it might be free for a giant company like Google because they have plenty of capital to build Waymo's quote unquote free fuel infrastructure. It's a shame how the left has been convinced to believe the word free can exist in reality when it really can't. For example, I live about 2 miles from the beach. There used to be free parking there, but not anymore. So let's say I want to save on parking and I just simply walk there. Would I be visiting the beach for free? I mean, technically, no, because it requires calories to get my 2 legs down there, calories from food, and food isn't free. Now, the air you breathe, the sunshine on its own, and rain that naturally falls from the sky, those things are free. But using sunshine to power your vehicle, it's not free because the sunlight cannot be free. Perhaps if your enormous company reaches a point where you have robots complete the full process automatically, from sourcing the solar panels and chargers to building the electric vehicles and fitting them with autonomous driving capabilities, robots that build themselves and repair themselves, but after a certain point, it might resemble a free process. But humans, do they really want to live in a world where giant companies have automated everything and humans can no longer make money? Do you really think a company like Waymo, which is Google and Alphabet, will just pay for the former Uber driver's lifestyle, their bills, their food, and other financial obligations because Waymo eliminated their job? Even in the Jetsons, where they were completely surrounded by robots, they still had to go to work and make a living. If corporate America somehow automates every single job in America, no matter what the job might be, even the jobs that don't seem possible for robots to currently do, like roofing, for example, I mean, if they figure it out, will the autonomous roofing company financially support all the roofers they ran out of business? Or the people who long for this autonomous world, will they just expect the government to ensure everyone's financially covered? I mean, everyone receives the same amount of money and therefore everyone lives the same lifestyle. They shop the same places and they live in the same type of homes. What if robots figure out how to be the perfect politician and corporations by proxy take over the government? I mean, setting that aside, if everything in life is done for you by robots and you're even receiving a living that you don't work for, the government wouldn't see a reason for you to go anywhere. Why would you need a car? Everything is brought to you already. Why do you need a vacation? You have nothing to be stressed about. Everything's already taken care of. Or you want a vacation to have fun? Well, that's not essential. Eating, staying in shape, being healthy, that's essential. If everything is automated for us, what's the point in life at all? If you have no need to go anywhere and you have no problems to solve, people might get burned out on social media all day. They might get burned out on shopping Amazon all day, playing video games all day, watching AI sports all day. And if they do, well, too bad. The autonomous world runs the show now. And at the end of the day, I do have hope that people will opt for the real human over the autonomous driver, the human call center as opposed to the AI call center, hanging out with real people instead of androids programmed to agree with you no matter what. It won't be easy, especially with the largest companies on earth looking to take full advantage of autonomy, but I do have faith that society will. Otherwise, we're doomed to be locked out of our own economy and without any means to survive in the comfortable era we've all grown up in. Because if you think the government will guarantee you a luxury lifestyle and you won't have to go to work or want for anything ever again, you're just crazy. So, to wrap things up, I decided to ask Google how many Americans depend on Uber and Lyft to make a living. And Google admitted that 2 million Americans depend on these two ride sharing companies to help pay their bills. So then I asked Google, how will these 2 million people make a living if Waymo replaces them? And this is what Google said. As companies like Waymo continue to expand their autonomous ride hailing services, the future employment landscape for Uber and Lyft drivers becomes a crucial question. Here's a breakdown of the potential impacts and actions: job displacement and reduced earnings. Robo-taxis, such as those operated by Waymo, are already impacting rideshare drivers in some areas like Phoenix and Los Angeles, leading to decreased earnings as drivers focus more on lucrative trips such as airport routes, which I'm sure Waymo is probably going to replace those too. Over the next 20 years, a significant portion of driving jobs, including rideshare driving, could potentially be replaced by autonomous technology. Uber and Lyft's long term goals involve transitioning toward autonomous fleets, which would displace human drivers. Although challenges like regulation, cost, and technology adoption rates may slow down this process, but that's their ultimate goal for Lyft and Uber. They want to get rid of every human driver that they have. That way they don't have to pay for them, or they don't have to pay them anymore. Potential alternative career paths. So just go find a job somewhere else. Drivers can explore other driving related roles like becoming a commercial truck driver, delivery driver, or bus driver, share may core which share many core skills with rideshare driving, which I'm sure that those companies are going to end up displacing other human drivers too, commercial truck drivers, delivery drivers, and whatnot. Anyway, some roles require specific certifications, such as a commercial driver's license for truck drivers. Again, they're working on replacing commercial truck drivers already. Drivers might transition into fields like customer service or logistics coordination or warehouse work, utilizing their existing skills in areas such as communication, route planning, and customer interaction. So, customer service, I mean, they're working on AI replacing customer service, call centers, and whatnot. Logistics coordination, I mean, maybe, but I'm sure that's probably going to eventually be figured out as far as automation or warehouse work. Okay, so I guess the only work that anybody who's doing rideshare services, the 2 million people who are going to be put out of a job, I guess just be a warehouse worker. We're all just going to work in warehouses now. And even that is going to be automated because Amazon's been working on that for years. In their distribution centers, they've got robots running all over the place as far as I've seen. And number three, the need for retraining and skill development. Workers displaced by automation may need to acquire new skills to remain competitive in the evolving job market. This could involve pursuing education and training programs to adapt to new technologies and demands. Organizations like International Open Academy offers courses in rideshare driving, though it's unclear if similar programs specifically focused on transitioning to other careers are widely available. And finally, the role of government and companies. Governments may implement policies and programs to support workers transitioning into new roles. So, in other words, just let the government pay for everything that you need paid for until you can just find another job that automation isn't taking away. The U.S. Department of Labor offers dislocated worker grants to assist individuals impacted by major dislocations, including potential job loss due to automation. Companies like Uber and Lyft may collaborate with governments and educational institutions to offer retraining programs to help drivers adapt. I highly doubt they're going to do that. So they're saying that Uber and Lyft, with regard to the 2 million drivers that aren't going to drive for them anymore, they're essentially going to fire them and replace them with automatic drivers. These companies, they're going to obligate themselves to spend thousands of dollars on each and every one of these 2 million drivers to help them find a job somewhere else. I highly doubt that's going to happen. I'll believe it when I see it. Oh, and I forgot about this one: long-term outlook. While automation presents challenges, it also has the potential to create new jobs and boost productivity, ultimately contributing to economic growth. Of course, they don't give any examples as to how. The World Economic Forum predicts that automation may displace around 85 million jobs globally by 2025, while simultaneously creating approximately 97 million new jobs. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, again, where are the examples? I guess that's something I should look up, maybe do another video on that because I don't see that happening. And successful adaptation to automation requires a concerted effort from individuals, businesses, and governments to address the challenges and seize the opportunities it presents. In summary, as autonomous vehicles like Waymo become more prevalent, Uber and Lyft drivers may face significant challenges, including job displacement and reduced earnings. To navigate this evolving landscape, drivers can explore alternative career paths. Yeah, just go find a job somewhere else. Or you can seek retraining and skill development opportunities, like go back to college, because most of the Uber and Lyft drivers, they totally don't have degrees already, and leverage government and company support programs. While the transition may be challenging, the long term outlook suggests that automation can also lead to new opportunities and economic growth. The key word in that last sentence is can. It can lead to new opportunities, but will it? I mean, I would go as far as to say maybe not. I mean, for the foreseeable future, yes, there's construction jobs, mowing lawns, things like that. That automation isn't quite there yet as far as replacing. But one major problem that we're facing with that is that a lot of undocumented immigrants have entered the country over the last several years. I mean, numbers are all over the place. I've seen 11 million, I've seen 30 million, but at the end of the day, there's millions and millions of low skilled labor that's entered the country, and some might consider Lyft and Uber drivers as a form of low skill labor because it's just simply driving a car from one place to another. And with these people who are getting displaced from driving for Lyft and Uber, they're going to have to try to find low skill work somewhere else unless they have the ability to take a long period of time, months or even maybe years, to essentially go back to school and just try to learn another skill in one form or another. So the answer that it seems that Google has is that look, if you're going to lose your job to automation, just go back to college. Even if you've already been to college, just go back anyway. Just go find something new that you can do. It'll work itself out. Even though a lot of people, maybe even the majority of people who drive for Lyft and Uber in these large cities like Phoenix and Los Angeles, a lot of them, they already have college degrees already. They just can't find anything steady or anything in demand with their degree. So it's a problem that looks like it isn't going to fix itself. It's not going to solve itself. These giant companies that are replacing humans with automation, they're not going to pay your bills if you lose your job with these companies. They're not going to give you any kind of severance, or if they do, it's going to probably be a minimum. It won't be enough to carry you into retirement. They're not going to pay you a pension, and the government isn't really going to be there for you to lean on because we're already what, 36, 37 trillion dollars in debt, and we're on the road to adding another 5 trillion worth of debt to the government. They're already trying to cut as much as they possibly can, try to trim the fat because we're spending way too much money. And long story short, there's not going to be enough money in government to pay for anybody who loses their job due to automation. So it's a problem that's not going to solve itself anytime soon. The best thing I think that people can do is just opt for real drivers and not autonomous ones. I mean, that's one way that people can start pushing back against automation. Just choose the human driver because humans, they actually need to make a living. These autonomous vehicles that are created by Waymo, those vehicles, those autonomous drivers, they don't need to make a living. You're giving your money to $1 trillion corporation as opposed to giving your money to somebody who admittedly still works for a multi-billion-dollar corporation, but at least that human being still has a family to feed. They still have bills to pay just like you do. So put yourself in their shoes because you're a real human being just like them. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.